podcast, The Millionaire of the Diamonds, where this podcast is extremely simple. We are doing one thing, is developing our inner self, because it's always about who do I have to become to achieve the next level of success, peace, financial freedom. It doesn't matter what it is, but the next is always an inside job. Today, we're going to be talking about things that truly hit home for me. I'm going to bring you some personal life experiences that will help you do what Jean-Philippe is going to talk about, which is buffering, okay? Which means, do you plan a little bit of leeway, or are you always last minute? Because it really changes the way you live, the anxiety level, the stress level, the amount of pills you take. Like, seriously, the truth be said. Okay, sorry, guys. And then Marie-Pierre Tétrault is going to, Marie-Pierre Tétrault is going to help you with an introspective, anyways,
reflection
to look inside your brain. But before we go anywhere, Marie-Pierre, over to you, because we want to make sure we have a record-breaking attendance at the next conferences, that everybody in the world has the Tupperware, what did I say, Tupperware, that has a Millionaire of the Diamonds. It shows we're talking about figure skating before. My mind is like, no buffer here. Okay, Marie-Pierre, over to you.
Okay, so first thing, you can share the podcast this morning. You have the text in the comment that you can copy paste it when you share, so people understand why they should listen to the podcast this morning. But you will see that when you click on the arrow just beside where you write your comment to share, you will see the option to share by messenger or text message. So when you have someone in mind that really needs to hear to have a buffer this morning, you can send it directly by messenger or text message, so you make sure that they will click and listen to the podcast. Then we have our contest, Les Millionnaires des Diamants. So first, when you go on our Facebook group called Les Millionnaires des Diamants Inspirational Group, every time you post, every time that you comment, that you react on the group, you gain points during the month to be in the top 10 contributor of the group. And at the end of the month, the official top 10 will get a voucher to go shop on the boutique Les Millionnaires des Diamants. And then we have a draw at the end of each month. So to be in the draw, there's two ways. First, when you go on the boutique and you place your order or you receive your order, always take a picture and post on social media and tag Marie Moreno and Les Millionnaires des Diamants to be in the draw. And the second way, same thing, but with the books, Les Millionnaires des Diamants. So you just receive one of the book, you take your picture, you're reading one of the book. Again, you take a picture, you're doing one of the quiz book. Again, you take a picture, you're using one of the workbook. You take a picture, you're using your agenda, Les Millionnaires des Diamants. Again, you can take a picture. That means that you can take a new picture every day and post on social media and tag Marie Moreno and Les Millionnaires des Diamants to be in the draw at the end of the month. And then we have our next conferences that are coming up. One, we have it on April 11th, then we have one on July 11th, and then on November 14th. And it's 3 different conferences. So it's not the same subject. It's something that will help you grow during the year. So make sure that you register for the 3 conferences. So you commit to yourself, I will make sure that I develop it personally this year. So it's a commitment with yourself when you decide to get your tickets for the 3 conference. So you will have the link on the top and in the comments, so you can register for the next conference.
Thank you so, so much. So let's dive in right away. First of all, I want to say huge good morning to Lise, religiously here. I appreciate you so much, Lise. James and the crew. Monique, you're going to love today's podcast. Kendra, I think today's podcast is going to help you have a little bit more inner peace. I think you're really going to enjoy this. Olga, thank you for keeping me tagged on your new mandate. You know what she decided to do? She's keeping her house neat and she tags me. Okay. Because, you're going to see today, touch it once. It's one of my rules. And my gosh, it removes a whole bunch of stress. So welcome, everyone. Matthew is here. Where's Martin? Do I see Martin anywhere? And Natalie Flex. Salut, Natalie. En anglais. She's practicing her English. Anyways, Matthew, Martin. I don't see Martin. Anyways, he bought me butter. Stay tuned for the new reel coming out on butter, but that's another story in itself. All right. So let's go into the first part, is how to make doing the vital few almost effortless things. How to make the vital few effortless things a constant in our lives. I don't know how to explain it to you. Like, we need a life that's easy. We need a life that's fun. We need a life free of friction. There we go. I think that one sounds better. Yeah. Free of friction. Well, we need to be intentional. So let's shift our mindset from forcing execution to designing execution. And that's my new word. You know, you heard me talk about it at the director meetings for those that were there. Success is by design. And I said, you know what? You know, everything in other words is by design. So for years we've been taught that execution means pushing harder, more discipline, more effort, more pressure. But what if execution wasn't about willpower at all? Now listen to this, because I've been there. I'm 62 years old this year, and I can tell you, push harder, I've been there. More effort, I've been there. Do more, I've been there. But what if execution became almost effortless? And that's what I'm living today. So I'm so happy to deliver this podcast, simply because you get the me before, the me now. And I'm here to tell all you young people, anybody under 60 is a young person, that be intentional about making life easier and more fun, and you will succeed. That's my main message before I go any further. The question Essentialism is asking the book: how can we make doing the vital few things almost without effort, effortless? Got it right. Okay. So most people don't fail because they're lazy. They fail because everything requires a decision. So if you're leaning in and you're taking a couple of notes, I think one of the first notes I would write down if I were you is eliminate decision making. Huh? Because that causes a decision fatigue, right? Decision fatigue. So every object, every email, every habit, every closet, when everything requires effort to keep it clean, to keep it organized, to do it, execution becomes exhausting. Life speed is fast. And let's be honest, life isn't slowing down. I don't know about you. Like, as soon as I think I've got something, the rules have changed, right? So everything is really moving at a faster pace. There's no buffer, there's no systems, there's no protocols. Execution becomes stressful, frustrating, and forced, and we just feel like giving up and throwing in the towel. Our marriages, giving up on our kids, giving them to social welfare, our jobs. I'm quitting this job. I hate it. I go get. Okay, so where I want to go today is your systems will remove friction. I teach it in my own business, and I want to talk about it today before I leave you in the hands of Jean-Philippe. That's going to talk about the buffer and how important that is. Okay, now I'm going to bring a few real life protocols that is gold for me that I integrated slowly but surely. The first rule I decided to integrate, and that's because I've always been in a personal development program, and I caught on to it somewhere in my life where it said one of my where I want to say one of my simplest things I decided to do was the touch one principle. No clue where I heard it, but that became a movement in my life. The touch one principle. So if I touch a paper, an email, an object, I decide immediately file it, do it, delegate it, or delete it, right? No piles, no rethinking, no mental clutter. I will dedicate this first one to Kendra. Did you like that one, Kendra? Huh? Put it in the comments. Okay. Example number 2 I want to share with you is the hanger rule. We have closets that are going, you know, you look at the amount of socks we have, the amount of underwears we have, the amount of clothes. So this is my technique that I've used for years and years and years. And when my life started getting simpler, it's called the reverse hanger rule. So everything in July is my annual anniversary of putting order in my home. It's always in order, but where I need to remove anything that the hanger has not been turned this way. So in my closet, in my drawers, there's a system going on. Anything that hasn't been used, there is no second thought about, no decision making. I don't suffer from decision fatigue. It goes in the bag and it goes to the next. It's called pass it to the next person who's going to use it. Some stuff still have the tags on them when I bought them. You thought it was a good I thought it was a good idea and it wasn't. So that is something I do. And then I want to talk about the third rule I apply in my life is the 1 year rule. Something in my home that I haven't used, like a fondue set, I haven't used for a year. Automatically, it goes in the box. There's no, well, I'm going to use it so I don't have to put it back in the box. No, I'm very clear with myself. I haven't used it. It goes in the box. So, for those of you that have been in my home, did you see I have cupboards that are empty in the kitchen? People always say, how do you do that? This is how I do it. So this daily execution systems really help me expand beyond physical space. This isn't just about closet. I don't decide every day if I drink water. I have a protocol in place to drink my 2 liters of water. These systems allow me to cook every weekend. These systems allow me to have everything I need that corresponds to my meals that I do with intention. All of these systems allow me to live a life now with buffer. Because John Philippe is going to talk about buffers, but you can't go to having a buffer when we have a hard time with the rest. So systems and protocols brings us to live a life with buffers, which means now I have room to breathe, I have room to adjust, I have room to think. So, with no further ado, the buffer now comes with Jean-Philippe Jacques.
Yes, thank you, Maria. We are living in a world that is going so fast right now, okay? And this is why having a buffer is important because it will help you reduce and even avoid constant stress and like force execution. So that simple technique is called the buffer. So this is what we want to look at. So simply stated, what is the definition of a buffer? A buffer is simply a reserve, a margin, something that you set aside before you need it, okay, to absorb the shocks or the unexpected. So we always talk in finance that you need to have an emergency fund. Emergency fund is a buffer. Okay, so if something happened, okay, the water tank explode, okay, your fridge, okay, stop working, those are things that needs to be changed really fast. And if you don't have that buffer, this is where the stress come from. So one of the first example that has been given in the book was based on an history came from the Bible, from Joseph in Egypt. He helped like a pharaoh to explain a dream, and he said that in the dream, like the reason why he was dreaming that is because they will have like 7 years of abundance, but 7 years of famine. I don't know how to say it in English. Famine. Is it right? Right? Famine. I will say famine. Okay. So what he has decided to do is during those 7 years of abundance, they store 1/5 of the harvest to create the buffer for the 7 years. So the lesson is simple. In good time, you prepare security for bad time. You don't spend your money. When you're making more money, you put that money aside, okay? But buffer is not only financial, it applies in many other areas. When you're giving a training, okay, I know that when I'm giving the University Les Diamants training on Monday night or even like Tuesday night, we have an hour and 30 minutes, so 90 minutes in total to give the training. Usually what I'm doing, I have a material for an hour and the last 30 minutes is for the question, because I know that some of the notion I'm going a little bit faster, so it give the chance to people to ask me question. So I'm not stressed and I'm not looking at my PowerPoint and saying, oh my God, I have so many more notion to go over. So most of the times I'm reducing the number of things that I'm going to give. I have some material on the side, but I'm sure that I have enough time. When you're leaving, okay, so I will give you two examples that happened for me in the past 3 weeks. Like 2 weeks ago, we left for the airport very early in the morning. We had to be at the airport at 3 hours in at 3 o'clock in the morning. Okay, so I prepare all my stuff before going to bed. My clothes, my coffee, all of my things, just to be sure that if something happened, if like the clock didn't, like the alarm didn't go on, that I was ready. And last Sunday, we had to leave very early for Montreal for one of our conference. And I know that in the morning, I'm slow. Okay. That's me. I know myself. So I prepare everything just to be sure that I'm not stressed and I'm not rushed in the hours. And another example of where it can apply was an example coming from the book. It was an example of two countries, Norway and UK. Okay. They both discover the oil in the North Sea. So what did happen? Both countries had like a lot of oil revenue. The UK spent it all, but Norway created what they call a sovereign wealth fund that now today's worth $720 billion. So this is a buffer against future crises that can happen. So people that are non-essentialists will assume that everything will go as planned, okay, as the best case scenario, okay. They underestimate how long things can take, and they always live in reaction mode. But we want to be an essentialist. So an essentialist is not negative. He assumes that the unexpected will always happen. So the only thing that is for sure is the unexpected to happen. He based system, okay? He build buffer throughout system, and they prepare early and they execute effortlessly because they has been prepared. So in your schedule, here are three tips. In your schedule, always have 50 more percent time to whatever you estimate. So if you have a meeting of 30 minutes, book an hour in your schedule just to be sure that if somebody is late, if it happens something, if the discussion is a bit more longer, that you're not stressed for your next meeting. Okay. In your project, when you have a big project, identify the riskiest task and step, and be sure that you put a bit more margin on those tasks, time, resources, money. And as we said in finance, saving during stable month so you have caution when tough times come. Okay, so those are really important because it will help you reduce the friction from the unexpected that is inevitable in our life. So now to help you reflect, are you somebody that has buffer or not at all, or living in a stress mode? That I will leave you in the end of Marie-Pierre.
Thank you, Sophie. So, yes, it's time for the quiz this morning because the question is not whether interruption will happen, because they will. So, the question is, do you build the space for that reality, or do you operate like it's the perfect condition every day? So, like, this quiz will help you see whether you live with a margin or you live on the edge of pressure or constantly create stress by eliminating that white space in your agenda. So it's important to answer honestly based on how you would usually react in those situations, because it will help you to see where you are right now and how you can reflect and improve. So let's start. For each question this morning, you can answer A, B, C, or D. So question number one: when you have a flight, do you usually arrive at the airport A, just before the boarding begin, B, exactly at the recommended time, C, 30 to 60 minutes earlier than necessary, or D, early enough to sit calmly without stress? Question number two: when you are driving in traffic, do you typically A, follow very closely and switch lane constantly, B, stay close but react quickly, C, leave moderate distance, or D, leave comfortable space and drive steadily? Question number three: when it's time to schedule your meeting, do you A, book them back to back, B, leave a 5 minute between each of the meeting, C, leave 10 to 15 minutes between them, or D, you leave that breathing space intentionally? Question number four: when you have an appointment that runs long, so do you A, feel immediate stress, B, apologize and rush, C, adjust calmly, or D, you anticipate it and you build that time for it? And question number five: when it's time to pack for your trip? Do you A, pack last minute, B, pack the night before, C, pack a day in advance, or D, pack early and double check? So did you get mostly A's, mostly B's, mostly C's, or mostly D's? So if you have mostly A, you are living without margin. So you operate at 100% capacity or even more. So you plan for that ideal condition instead of real life. So you may feel rushed often, experience frequent stress, and blame all the interruption in your life and feel really reactive. So you want to begin building small buffer immediately. So you start, for example, with a 10-minute between each commitment because that white space will increase that clarity for you. Now, if you have mostly B, you have the minimal buffer. So you understand the concept of margin, but rarely predict it fully. So you often feel slightly rushed and depend on things going smoothly, and you recover from stress rather than prevent it. So you want to double your current buffer. So if for example, now you leave 5 minutes between each appointment, leave 15 so you can test how calm will change your performance. Now, if you have it mostly C's, you have that intentional buffer builder. So you already build some margin. So you adjust when needed. You avoid that constant panic and understand that life will fluctuate. So if you want to extend that principle beyond your time. So you want to have that financial buffer, the emotional buffer, and relational buffer. So it's the step after. And then if you have mostly D, you are the essentialist with margins. So you understand that something that thing that it's really powerful is that that buffer is a strength for you. So you anticipate the uncertainty, you avoid that preventable stress, that you operate from calm, and you make decisions clearly. So you think better, you can lead better, you can react less and influence more. So you want to maintain that model and to model it for other people around you because that buffer is not laziness, it's leadership. So, three ways to build that real buffer in your life. Number one, add extra time to all your travel time, for example. So, you don't want to calculate your travel time based on perfect condition. So add time for traffic, add time for parking, add time for elevator delay, add time for wrong turn or slow line. So the goal is not to arrive necessarily really early, but the goal is to arrive calm. So when you arrive, you constantly arrive without stress. Your nervous system will change, and so your decision making. Number two, you want to protect one daily white space block. So block at least 30 minutes in your day that is just white space. No task, no call, no scrolling, but it's used for thinking, planning, resetting, and handling all the unexpected issues. So that white space will prevent your day from being hijacked. And number three, you want to audit your calendar monthly. So you say, okay, once a month, I will ask, okay, where am I living at 100% capacity or even more? What would break it if I remove 10%? And what could improve if I left space in my calendar? So that buffer is not something that is accidental, but it's designed. So when you can look and reflect on your past month, you can make better decisions for the next. So take the time to reflect so you can improve month after month. So you can really feel that calm and your decision will be better after. So on that, I wish you a beautiful day and we'll see you tomorrow morning.